Reproduction in flowering plants. Flower represents the reproductive organ in flowering plants. Continuity of plant depends on its reproduction. It is the aim of the reproduction, which is continuity of generation. What is flower? The flower is a specialized branch, carries differentiated leaves which involve in sexual reproduction, producing fruits and producing seeds, like three main roles of flower in plants. Flower contain parts which are directly related to reproduction, like male and female parts, and other parts which are not directly related to reproduction. We call the flower coverings, calyx, and corolla. Flowers are formed from buds, which new grow parts of plant, but they are different from them. From them is like a branch, stem of tree. From nuts, what new grow, we call them bud. But this bud can grow into a new branch or a flower or some leaves. But growing nature, when it is different, it forms a specialized branch, which we call it flower, which the flower organs are closer to one another, but not separated from one another, no, without distance, but the leaves of flower are packed on one another without space between them, and they are not isolated. So as a result, the flower is a specialized branch of plant which has differentiated leaves involved in sexual reproduction, producing seeds and fruits. The two parts of flower which have no direct role in sexual reproduction are sepal and petals. Sepals, they make the groups called calyx, and one single green colored leaf located at the base of flower is sepal. But as a group, 3 or 4 or 5 as a group, we call them calyx. Their function is to protect the bud before it gets to full form, and before a rose or another flower open, it covered by some number of green colored small leaves. We call them as calyx. They usually have green color and stay attached to the lower part of flower until to the end. The petals, as one leaf, as a group, we call them corolla. They have different shape, size, and colors in different kind of plant. Is the color for part of flower. Usually the number of petals equals the number of sepals, or it doubles. Like if there are 3 sepals, there are 6 or 9 or 12 or 15 petals. Or 4 sepals, 4 or 8 multiples. In iris there are 3 sepals and 3 petals, same number. However, in rose there are many multiples of petals than sepals, but both these petals and sepals, they have no direct role in sexual reproduction, but they assist the male and female parts of flower to help reproduction. These 4 parts, main parts of flower, which is corolla and calyx, have no direct role, but the female part, pistil, and the male part, stamen, they are main parts of reproduction in flower. Stamens, which is maple, this is the male part in the flower. It consists of 2 parts, the anther, which is cylindrical bag shape structure or elliptic shape, which contains pollens, represent the male reproductive cell, immature, carried by a holder called filament, and anther. They forms the stamen, which is the male part of flower. Stamens are usually loose. They may bind together. Bind together means not only one, maybe 2 of them can be found together in one flower, like this, with 1 filament by 2 anther. The number of stamens may differ from one plant to another, 4 or 1 or 2 in different numbers. The female part of flower, which we call is pistil, is made up of 3 parts: ovary, style, and stigma. The lower part of female part is called ovary, contains ovules, the part which seed grow, which are connected to the ovary wall by a short neck called funiculus, like that one. Funiculus, ovule, compartments which seed grow in, we call them ovule, or maybe after we can call them as the carpels. That one, the ovary wall, but which connected to ovary wall is funiculus. The style has a cylindrical shape. It's a thin, hollow tube which extends to the top of the female reproductive organ, that we call it the stigma. But the tube which connects the lower part of pistil to the end, we call it style, which is a hollow tube. Stigma is the final part of pistil. It's rather puffed up, not flat, but like this, puffed up, rounded. This part will be somewhere covered with a sticky liquid. A causes question, sticky liquid. Why? To facilitate the sticking of pollens to it. Because pollens are transported surface of the pistil to the stigma by wind or insect, but as soon as they hit the stigma, they stick to it. Why? Because it's covered by a sticky substance. Also the surface is rough but not smooth. However, different plants have the same structure of flower. Monocotyledon or dicotyledon are two main groups of flowering plants. The differences between monocotyledon and dicotyledon press are summarized in this table. Like monocotyledons have one embryonic leaf, and in embryo, which is minimized organism, in monocotyledons, it has one leaf. It will be discussed later. And dicotyledon, but has what? Two embryonic leaves. Have triple or multi-triple flower parts, like three sepals or petals. But the dicotyledon has four, quantic means four and multiples of four parts, four calyx and corolla. The pollen, which is represented by immature male reproductive cell or gametophyte, has one single pore. It will look like this. There are thin regions in cellulosic wall for germination of pollen tube. If there is one single of this thin regions, monocotyledon, but if there are more than one, two, or three, it will be dicotyledon plants. Parallel veined leaves, the leaves of monocotyledons, like in grass or in date palm tree, leaves are thin and long, and their veins, means xylem and phloem, like this, parallel to outer surface. But in dicotyledons, the leaves look like this, and they have no parallel, but they have net veins, xylem and phloem. The monocotyledons have adventitious roots, like in onion under the ground. There are many tiny roots, but there's no main root. But the dicotyledons, they have a taproot, like carrot, taproot, but what? With number of thin branches. Generally, herbal plants, which have a flexible stem, have no secondary growth, not live for many years, and maybe we can say also they have parenchyma, as we remember the location of parenchyma found in the major organs of herbal plants, but not sclerenchyma. But dicotyledons, they have secondary growth, they live for many seasons, and they are generally woody plants. Some terminology about the flowers. The complete flower are the flowers which have all four parts: calyx, corolla, stamen, and pistil. We call them complete flower. But any of these four parts is missing, we call them incomplete flower. If it directly related to reproduction or no, but importance to having one less or one missing part to be incomplete. Perfect flower or imperfect only about the reproductive organs. If both male and female reproductive organs found in same flower is a perfect flower, or we may use the hermaphrodite or monoecious, which all meaning is same. But the imperfect flower has male or female, but not both of them only one of them found in flower, it's imperfect or dioecious. Sterile flower has no male nor two female parts, so are not able to reproduce. Production of reproductive cell and fertilization is not happen in this kind of flower. Inflorescence, a term is about the structure of flower. So there's one main stem that is branched to have many flowers as what? As a bundle. In composite flower, they look like a single flower, but they consist of numbers of flowers, like what? Like in daisy or sunflower. You may know sunflower. There are thousands of seeds, but we have to know each of these seeds come from one flower. So there are hundreds or thousands of flowers, but look like only one.